everyone, welcome back to Cracku JEE Telugu. ఈ వీడియోలో మనం NMTC ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ని సాల్వ్ చేస్తాం. మోర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్లీ ప్రతి క్వశ్చన్ని ఎలా థింక్ చేయాలి, రైట్ అప్రోచ్ని ఎలా ఐడెంటిఫై చేయాలనేది కూడా అండర్స్టాండ్ చేస్తాం. సో పాజ్, సాల్వ్ అండ్ దెన్ వాచ్. మీరు ఆల్రెడీ ఒలింపియాడ్స్కి ప్రిపేర్ అవుతుంటే వై స్టాప్ దేర్? మీ ప్రిపరేషన్ని నెక్స్ట్ లెవెల్కి తీసుకెళ్ళండి విత్ క్రాకు JEE ఫౌండేషన్ కోర్స్. డిజైన్ చేసింది మా మారుతి సార్, JEE AR 29, అండ్ రాధాకృష్ణ సార్, హూ హ్యాస్ మోర్ దాన్ 15 years of teaching experience. కాన్సెప్ట్స్ని ఎర్లీగా స్ట్రాంగ్ చేసుకోండి, రైట్ వేలో ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి అండ్ JEEకి సాలిడ్ ఫౌండేషన్ని బిల్డ్ చేసుకోండి. అండ్ బిఫోర్ యూ డిసైడ్, యూ కెన్ బుక్ అ ఫ్రీ డెమో కాల్ విత్ అవర్ IITN ఫ్యాకల్టీ అండ్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ ద క్రాకు వే యోర్ సెల్ఫ్. లింక్ డిస్క్రిప్షన్లో ఉంది.
Okay, so in this question we are told that there is a 6-digit number in which the first and the fourth digit from the first are the same, second and the fifth from the first are the same, and third and the sixth from the first are same. Then the number is always. Okay, so what we can take here is it's a 6-digit number, right? So we can put it something like, say, this 6 digits. This is like the number starts from here, ends there. It says first and the fourth are the same, so we can take them to be same, right? Let's take the first and the fourth to be A. Similarly, second and the fifth are same, so let's say this is B, then this is B, and third and sixth are same, so let them be C. Okay, now they ask us if the number is always going to be what? An odd number divisible by 5, square number, or divisible by 11. Very easily we can say a few things. First is, when will this be an odd number? This will be an odd number when will this be an odd number? This will be an odd number when C is odd, right? For an odd number, the last digit has to be odd or even. Now in the question, is there any indication whatsoever that C can be odd or C is even? No. So we are just told that the third and the sixth number are same, so C can be either odd or even. So this is something we can't say for certainty. So this is clearly not the correct answer. Similar for divisibility by 5. A number is divisible by 5 when? A number is divisible by 5 only when the last digit is either a 0 or a 5. Same argument as option D. We are not told if the number has to be divisible by 5 or not. We are not told if C is 0 or 5. So for divisibility by 5, C has to be either 0 or 5, none of which is indicated. So B also we can eliminate. Similar for option A as well. For a square number, there is no fixed pattern. We know that a square number never ends with certain digits. A square number has to end with certain digits. Like a square number ends with a 0 or a 1. So we know a square number ends with all of these digits, and if anything else, it is not a square number. But none of that basically tells us, because we are not given anything about the numbers. So square number or not, this is also something which we can't comment on. It's not obviously going to be always a square number. However, when we look into divisibility by 11, what is the rule for divisibility by 11? The rule for divisibility by 11 is sum of the digits in the odd place minus sum of the digits in the even place should either be 0 or a multiple of 11. Looking into this number, what will be the sum of the digits in the odd place? This is odd, right? If this is the first place, this is the third place, this is the fifth place. So sum of the digits in the odd place will be A plus C plus B, and subtract sum of the digits in the even place, which is B, A, C. Again, B plus A plus C. These are digits in odd place, and these are digits in even place. The rule gives us that this difference should either be 0 or a multiple of 11. Clearly this is going to be 0. ACB, ACB cancels, everything cancels out. This is 0. So no matter what these digits are, no matter what A, B, C are, this number is always going to be something that is divisible by 11. So we can say the number is always option C, which is divisible by 11. Okay, so in this question, we are told that starting from the number 1, Ritu generates a series of numbers as 1, 3, 6, 11, 18, 29, 42, okay, such that the differences of the consecutive numbers from the beginning gives consecutive primes. In this series, she came across a perfect square for the first time. The square root of this perfect square is. Okay, so what we need to do here, because these are primes, right? So we will not get a general term as such to a general term for the number. What we need to do is basically brute force where we evaluate them. Now if we consider the primes, what are the primes that we have? What are the primes that we have? So the primes are basically, if I make a list, it goes 2, then 3, then 5, then 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 20, 21, 23, 29, 31, 37, 41, 43, 47, 53, 53. I think these should be enough. We'll just compute the series up to this and then see if we can find a number as such. So the series goes, basically it starts from 1, 1, and then like the next number is 3. Basically 1 minus 3 is 2, and then the next number is 6, right? So 6 minus 3 is 3. So the consecutive differences are basically primes. So how do we get the next term? Basically I can do this plus this gives me this. Similarly this plus this will give me this. The next term should be this plus this, which is 11. 11 plus 7, and if you see, it matches. So that is basically the series. 11 plus 7 gives me 18. 18 plus 11 gives me 29. 29 plus 13 gives me 42. 42 plus 17 gives me 59. 59. 59 plus 19 gives me 78. 78 plus 23 gives me 11, 9, 10, 101. 101 plus 29 gives me 130. 130 plus 31, 161. 161 plus 37 is 198. 198 plus 41 is 239. 239 plus 43 gives me 282. 282 plus 47 gives me 789 and 12. 329. 329 plus 53 12 2 1 8 9 392. Okay, so now if I look here, I still don't see a single square number. Okay, so the next after 53 we have the next prime is 59. So and 59 plus 392 should give me 1. Okay, so 441. Okay, so now we have a square. I mean, once we evaluate the series, 1, 3, 6, 11, 18, 29, 42, none of these are squares. If you look into the squares of terms, the squares go 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, 121, 144. 169 is 13 square, 196 is 14, 225 is 15 square, 16 square is Okay, so if I go that way, 225 was 15, it's still not here. Next square that we have, next we have 17 square is 289. So this is also close but not quite. Similarly, 18 square is 324. Again, 329, close but not quite. 19 square will end with a 1. It's 381. Again, not close. 20 square is 400, which is not there. 21 square is 441. So this is basically 21 square. So the first square number that comes in this series, perfect square that comes in this series, that is 441, which is essentially 21 square. The square root of the perfect square is what? Square root is 21. So the answer should be option D, which is 21. In this question, we are given this expression, a rather difficult looking expression, which says the expression x root over x square plus y square by, okay, whatever this is, this one reduces to what? So this is a very simple question where we need to simplify this expression and see what will be the final value. So let's begin by simplifying it. Now, one thing we know, if there is a number a to the power minus 1, then that reduces to 1 by a. So if I have something like a by b whole thing to the power minus 1, that is essentially b by a, rule of exponents. We can apply that here because if you notice, all of these have like minus 1s in the power. We'll use this to simplify. So this expression, we'll just write it here, x into x square plus y square by twice y root x whole to the power minus 1. We'll just flip it up. So this becomes twice y root x divided by x square plus y root over x plus root over of y. Similarly, for this term also we can write plus y. Again, flip it up, twice x root y divided by root over of x plus root over of y. So this is the numerator basically. Let's simplify the numerator first, then do the denominator, and then we'll see whatever. So why are we doing this? Because see, root x plus root y I can take common as an LCM here. So that gives me, like, this is for the numerator only. So if I take a root x plus root y as common, I have, and multiplying x here, I'll have 2xy root x plus, idhar also I'll have 2xy root y. So I can again take a 2xy common from both of these, and I'll essentially be left with 2xy root x plus root y. Now root x plus root y, I can cancel. So the numerator essentially becomes just 2x. Okay. So this numerator is essentially just 2xy. Now let's try simplifying the denominator. So in the denominator, we have x plus root xy by 2xy whole to the power minus 1. So again, we can just flip it up. So in the denominator, I'll have 2xy divided by x plus root xy. Similarly, this one also will give me 2xy y plus root x. Again, we can see that 2xy comes common from both of these. And another thing, if you see, कि like root xy है इधर में, so what we can do here is basically 2xy, and I can take root x common from both of these. So I'll be left with root x plus root y. Similarly, from the second one, I can take root y common. I'll again be left with a root x plus root y. Here I'll get a root y common. Here I'll again get a root y common. So I'm left with a root x plus a root y. Now, if you see, this whole part is essentially can be taken as common. We'll take it. 2xy root x plus root y. I have 1 by root x plus 1 by root y. This one I can again simplify. When I take the LCM, I'll have root xy in the denominator and I'll have root y plus root x. So I can just write it directly. Root xy and I'll have a root y plus root x. Now if you see, this expression simplifies further because root x plus root y I can cancel out. Root xy I can also cancel out. Why? Because 2xy is basically what? 2 into root xy into root x. So if I write it like this, 2xy as 2 into root xy into root xy, I can cancel out root xy's also, and my denominator is basically 2 square root of root xy. So my denominator is 2 square root of root xy. So what does my final expression become? My final expression is 2xy divided by 2 root over of xy. Again, I just cancel this out and I'm left with just a root xy. So that tells me that this whole dangerous looking expression reduces to option A, which is root over of xy. Okay, so in this question, we are told that the sum of the digits of a 2-digit number is multiplied by 8 and the result is found to be 13 more than the number. Then the 2-digit number is. So whenever we have a 2-digit number given to us, like say something like 84, in that case, how do we write this? It's clearly, I can't take A to be 8 and B to be 4 and just write it AB. Hai na? That is not it. 84 is essentially 80 plus 4. So if I had taken A to be 8 and B to be 4, then 84 I'll write it to be 10A plus B. That is how we write a 2-digit number. So in this question, we are told sum of the digits of a 2-digit number. Okay, 2-digit number nikalna hai. So let's say the 2-digit number is 10A plus B. Whatever is it, the digits are A and B. The number is 10A plus B. Sum of the digits of a 2-digit number is multiplied by 8. Sum of the digits A plus B. This one is multiplied by 8. And the result is found to be 13 more than the number. So this is equal to 13 more than the original number. This is the number. So we have this equation. We are told that then the 2-digit number is. Okay, and the 2-digit number, we don't really need to find the number, but it's going to be a prime and all of that. Okay, let's solve this equation a little bit and see if we can find like a better equation to work with. So this one, if I open it up, I get 8A plus 8B is equal to 13 plus 10A plus B. So I can say 8B minus B, which is 7B, is equal to 13 plus 2A. Okay. Now, can I actually find the number? I actually can. How can I say that I can find the number? Because if you think about it, A and B are limited. I mean, A and B are digits of a number. So A and B can only be something from 0 to 9. It can't be more than that. So what I can do is I can substitute for the values of B or substitute for the values of A and figure out if I can get a correct value for the other one. So I think substituting values for A would be easier. So I can say A is basically equal to 7B minus 13 divided by 2. Okay. Now, what can be the values of B? I'll put B and I'll see if I get valid values for A. So B, if you think about this number, A has to be something from 0 to 9. It is divided by 2, which means, and this is a number which doesn't leave any remainder. So which means this one, 7B minus 13, this one also has to be an even number, because if it's not an even number, if it's something odd, then odd divided by 2 will give me a number in decimals. I don't want decimals. I can't have decimals because A is a digit. So this thing has to be even. This top portion has to be even. Now if you see, this number is basically difference of two numbers. So when is the difference of two numbers even? The difference of two numbers is even only when either both of them are odd or both of them are even. If one is odd and one is even, then the difference is odd. So because 13 is odd, 7B also has to be odd. And 7B has to be odd means what? B has to be odd. If B is an even number, then 7 into 2 or 7 into 4, that will give me an even number. So B has to be odd. So that is the inference that we can get. B is definitely odd. B cannot be even, because if B is even, then this one is not a whole number. So if B is odd, that means what are the values of B possible? B can be 1, 3, 5, 7 or 9. If I put B to be 1, then it's 7 minus 13, which is a negative number. 7 minus 13 is minus 4. So minus 4 divided by 2 is minus 2. A cannot be negative. A can only be from 0 to 9 because A is a digit. So A is equal to B is equal to 1 is not giving me a solution. If I put B to be 3, then 7 into 3 is 21. 21 minus 13 gives me 8, and 8 divided by 2 gives me 4. So if B is 3, then A is basically equal to 7 into 3 minus 13 divided by 2, which is equal to 21 minus 13 divided by 2, which is equal to 8 by 2 or 4. So when I take B to be 3, I get A to be 4, which is fine. I mean, B can be, they can be 4 because 0 to 9 may we want. So this is accepted. If I put B to be 5, then A is equal to what? 7 into 5 minus 13 by 2, which is 35 minus 13. Which is 35 minus 13, so that's 22 divided by 2 gives me an 11. Can A be 11? A cannot be 11 because A is a digit. So if 5 is not working, the other numbers are also not going to work because this one technically will keep growing. 5 pe only this is giving me a big number. So if I take a bigger number, then it's going to give me bigger numbers. So you can evaluate them, but actually these will also not work. So the only pair that works is if we take A to be equal to 4 and B to be equal to 3. So what was the number that we had chosen? The number was 10A plus B. So 10A plus B is what? The number is basically 43. 43 is the number. Now, let's verify the options. Option A says prime number. That is correct. 43 is a prime number. So probably this is the correct answer. Let's see the others also. B says an even number. Clearly 43 is not even. We can reject this. C says such that the difference of its digits is 2. Difference of digits is what? 4 minus 3. That is 1. So difference is not 2. So C also I can reject. And finally, such that the sum of its digits is a composite number. Sum of digits is 4 plus 3, which is 7. 7 is again a prime, so that is not a composite number. D also we can reject. We can say option A is the correct choice here. Hi guys, so in this question we are told that a water tank is fitted with 4 different taps as outlets. If the tank is full, it takes 1 hour to empty the tank when the first tap alone is open, 2 hours to empty the tank when the second tap alone is open, 3 hours third tank, 4 hours fourth tank. Okay, so basically in this question we are told ki like there is a tank which is full of water and there are 4 taps that are there. So if I open just one, the first one, then the tank empties in 1 hour. If I open just the second one, then the tank empties in 2 hours. Third one, the tank opens in 3 hours. And fourth one, the tank empties in 4 hours. They ask us when all the taps are open simultaneously, charo I have opened up together. In that case, how much time it will take? So in this case, there can be multiple approaches. The easiest one is to assume one quantity. So we'll begin by saying, let the total capacity of the tank is I would want them to be divisible by all these 4 numbers. So I have 2, 4 and 3. So the closest is LCM of 2, 4 and 3, which is 12. So I'll say let the capacity of the tank is 12 units. Whatever the units are not important here. So 12 units. Now consider the first tap. First tap empties in 1 hour. So how much water is the first tank taking out in 1 hour? So how much water is the first tank taking out in 1 hour? That is basically called the efficiency or the rate at which the water is dissipated by them. So I'll just call it E1 or efficiency of the first tank. In that case, E1 is basically 12 unit in 1 hour. So that is 12 by 1, or which is 12 units per hour. Then we are told ki second one empties in 2 hours. So what will be the efficiency of the second tank? Efficiency of the second tank is 12 unit, 12 units in 2 hours. So that is basically 6 units per hour. In 1 hour, it does 6 units. So in 2 hours, it does the whole 12 units. So similarly, for 3, it will be E3 will essentially be 12 by 3, which is 4 units per hour. And E4 is going to be 12 by 4, which is basically 3 units per hour. So in 1 hour, how much is the total being eliminated by all the 4? If all the 4 tanks are open, if all the 4 taps are open, then total water removed when all 4 are open, that is basically E1 plus E2 plus E3 plus E4, which is 12 plus 6 plus 4 plus 3, which is 25 units per hour. Now obviously the tank is only 12 units, so 25 units in 1 hour they are removing, so which means the total time that is required has to be less than 1 hour. So 25 units in 1 hour, right? 25 units in 1 hour. 1 hour is what? 60 minutes. So how much is removed in 1 minute? In 1 minute, they are removing 25 by 60 units. In 1 minute, they are removing 25 by 60 minutes. 25 by 60 units. So now we can assume कि let the total time taken is x minutes. I take that in x minutes the tank is emptied by all the four combined. Then in x minutes, how much water is removed? In x minutes, 25 by 60x is removed, and this should be equal to the total water of the tank, because if the water removed is equal to the total water, only then I can say that the tank is empty. Now what I need to do is solve this equation, which is simple basically, because 5 5s are 25, 5 12s are 60. So that gives me x is equal to 12 into 12 divided by 5. 12 into 12 is 144. So 144 divided by 5. This should be something around 5 2s are 10, 44, 5 8s are 40, and 4 is there, so again 0, so 28.5 minutes. So what is the total time that is taken when all the four taps are opened? Total time taken is 28.5 minutes. All the taps emptied in 28.5 minutes. Now, when I look into the options, it says between 29, 29 and 30, 28 and 29 less than 28. Obviously, between 28 and 29, which is option B. Option B is the correct answer. So in this question, we are told that two primes P and Q are such that P plus Q is odd and Q minus 10P is 23. Then Q minus 20P equals what? Okay, so two primes. What are prime numbers? Prime numbers are numbers which have only one divisor, like the number and one and the number itself, two divisors only. So two primes are such that P plus Q is odd. Now we know famously that all the prime numbers are odd except for 2. Because 2 is the only even prime number. Every other even number has 2 is its multiple. So primes are predominantly odd. Now if I have sum of two numbers is odd, what I mean is, if it's given that P plus Q is odd, when do we have the sum of two numbers to be odd? Sum of two numbers is odd only when one of them is odd, one of them is even. Right? I can have something like 2 plus 5. This gives me 7. I can have something like 4 plus 5. This gives me 9. Because this is even, this is odd. Odd plus even gives me an odd. If I have two odd numbers, then this is always even, like say 5 plus 3 is 8. Another way to get even is if I have two even numbers. In that case also I always get an even. Just say 8 plus 6 is 14. So when I am told that the sum of these two numbers is odd, I have to understand that one of the numbers is odd, the other one is even. Has to be the case. Now what is P and Q? P and Q are prime numbers. What is the only even prime number? The only even prime number is 2. So one of these has to be 2. One of these has to be 2. Either P or Q has to be 2. Otherwise this doesn't satisfy. Now consider this equation. Q minus 10P is 23. Obviously, if Q was 2 and every other prime number is going to be more than 2, right? So if Q was 2, then this number is definitely more than 2, which tells me that this side has to be a negative, but this is positive, which means that Q cannot be 2. P has to be 2, because either P or Q are 2, and if I take Q to be 2, then this side will be a negative. So I can say that basically we will have P to be equal to 2. If I have P to be equal to 2 and we are given this, q minus 10p is equal to 23. One thing I could do is basically substitute 2 ka value here, find q, then find this expression. Other thing I can do is, because I know p ka value, I can basically say q minus 20p is basically equal to q minus 10p minus 10p, right? Why? Because q minus 10p ka value I know is 23, and this minus 10p will be what? 10 into 2. So this will give me 23 minus 20, which is 3. So the answer of this q minus 20p is essentially 3, which is option B. In this question, we are asked which of the following is a false statement. So 4 statements are given to us. All these are basically properties of a quadrilateral. We'll try to prove each of them and see do we understand them or not. Option A says diagonals of a square bisect each other at right angles. This is obviously true. This is always true. How can we prove this? Let's consider a square like this. These are the diagonals. So, and square is essentially a type of a parallelogram. It's a special case of a parallelogram. So what does that tell me? That tells me that the opposite sides in a square are also going to be parallel, which means that if I have this line and this side, these two are going to be parallel to each other. And if I consider this line to be a transversal, in that case, this angle is essentially equal to this angle because alternate angles. Similarly, if I consider this one to be a transversal, then I can say this angle is equal to, this angle is equal to this angle. So basically, I could prove that this triangle is similar to this triangle, which means this side is equal to this side and this side is equal to this side. So we can say that the diagonals are bisecting each other. Similarly, if I take this triangle and this triangle and I try with the congruence, I can basically show that this angle is equal to this angle. But because the sum of these two angles is 180 degrees, so I can say that each of them has to be 90 degrees. So diagonals of a square bisect each other at right angles is actually a true statement. Next, if I say diagonals of a rectangle bisect each other, this is also a true statement. If I consider a rectangle like this, let's say these are the diagonals. What I can do is, similar to the square, I can show this angle is equal to this angle is equal to this angle, and this side is equal to this side, which gives me what? This triangle is essentially congruent to this triangle. So if these are congruent, it would mean this is equal to this and this is equal to this, which means the diagonals of a rectangle bisect each other. So this is also true. Okay, so we want to figure out the false statement, right? So this is correct. This is also correct. Diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other at right angles. This is also similar to the square thing only. It would have been better if we had proven for rhombus, but basically the idea remains same. Because square and a rhombus are related, a square is also a special kind of a rhombus. So if we draw this parallelogram family, so essentially we have the parallelogram. Then if I have all the 4 sides to be equal, then I have the rhombus. And if I have all the angles to be equal, in that case I have a rectangle. Now in a rectangle where all the 4 sides are equal and all the angles are equal, that is essentially a square. And in a rhombus where all the sides are equal and also the angles are equal, in that case also this is a square. So this is basically the parallelogram family. Whatever is true for a parallelogram is going to be true for all of these. Whatever is true for a rhombus will be true for a square, but will not be true for a parallelogram. Might not be true for a parallelogram. Similarly, whatever is true for a rectangle is definitely going to be true for a square, but might not be true for a parallelogram. So if I think about it like that, for a rhombus, I know the diagonals bisect each other at 90 degrees, which means that for a square also the diagonals will bisect each other at 90 degrees. For a parallelogram, parallelogram ka definition is parallelogram ka property is diagonals bisect each other. So if in a parallelogram I have that the diagonals bisect each other, that means for a rhombus, for a rectangle, for a square, all three of these the diagonals will bisect each other. So from there also I could say A, B, C are basically correct. Fourth one says diagonals of a quadrilateral bisect each other, then the quadrilateral is a rectangle. That is not necessarily true. Why? Because the property of a parallelogram is that the diagonals bisect each other. It can be any parallelogram, it will still hold. A rectangle is a special kind of a parallelogram. So the quadrilateral we can't say is a rectangle, we can say that the quadrilateral will be a parallelogram. This is specifying more. A rectangle, it is, if we find in a quadrilateral the diagonals are bisecting each other, then we can for sure say that this is a parallelogram. We can't say if it's a rectangle or not. For a rectangle, it has to have the diagonals bisect each other and also the angles are 90. So because we don't know anything about the angles, I can say this is the incorrect thing, which means option D is the correct choice here. In this question, we are told that Soham has his 23rd birthday on 1st January 2024 and he notices that 2024 is divisible by 23. If he lives till 100 years of age, how many times other than the above his age would be a divisor of that year? Okay, so Soham's 23rd birthday was on 1st January 2024. So when was Soham born? Soham was clearly born in 2001. So Soham was born in 2001, because if he was born in 2001, then 2002 would be his age would be 1, 2003 his age would be 2, 2004 his age would be 3. The pattern is 2024 his age is 23. So we can say Soham was born in 2001. Now if you see what is happening here, it says ki in 2024 23rd birthday was divisible by 23. So 2024, like the year in which he turned 23, that was divisible by 23. Okay, so if I have a general expression like year versus age. So in 2001, his age was 0. In 2002, his age was 1. In 2003, his age was 2. So I'm basically adding 1 here and 1 here, no? So in 2001 plus n, his age would basically be n. So that would be the general thing. In a year 2001 plus n, his age is going to be n. If I put it here like and his age is also n. So why if you see here like in 2024, which is 2021 plus 23, his age was 23. Now what did he notice? 2024 was divisible by 23. So we basically need to find all the values of n such that 2001 plus n divided by n gives me an integer. That is what I need to figure out. जो भी year है divided by his age, that should be divisible, as in that should give me an integer. Now if you consider this expression 2001 plus n, I can simplify it and write 2001 by n plus n by n. This should give me an integer. Now n by n is definitely an integer. So essentially my problem reduces to 2001 by n should give me an integer. So I basically need to find all the values of n by which 2001 by n gives me an integer value. 2001 को factorize करना. Now one thing he figured out was 2024 में it was divisible by 23. So that means 2001 has to be divisible by 23. If we were unable to figure that out also, it's not an issue. We can prime factorize and figure out. What we will do is we need the prime factors or the factors of 2001. So 2001 के factors are, this is divisible by 3, right? So if I do by 3, 3 6 are 18, 20, again 6, 18, 3 7s are 21. Now 667, it is divisible by 23, it is also divisible by 23, 24, also divisible by 29. So I could do this. 23 will give me 22s are 46. Because 23 3s are is 69, which is more. So 23 2s are 46, 107, 3, so 7, 9, yeah, so 29. So 2001 के factors are 3, 23 and 29. Obviously, we are told that he lives only till 100 years, which means his age n cannot be more than 100. This is the age, no? N has to be less than or equal to 100. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Why? He lived till 100 years. He can't have a 101 ka age. So, what are the possible values of n? N can be 3, n can be 23, n can be 29. Any other combination, if I do say like 3 into 23, so what can be the values of n? N can be 3, n can be 23, n can be 29. Okay. Now it can also have, basically we need to figure out all the factors of 2001 which are less than 100. These three are there, but there will be other factors also, right? What will be another factor? Another factor can be something like 23 into 3, which is 9, 69. So 69 is also going to be a number. 2001 by 69, that is also going to be an integer. Similarly, another number can be 29 times 3, which is 27. So 2, 87. So there is another number 87. If I take 23 into 29, I basically get 667. That is obviously greater than 100. So what are the possible values of n that we found? So the possible values of n would be 1, 3, 23, 29, 69 and 87. So these are all the possible values of n. Now, they want us to figure out, other than the above, his age would be a divisor. Other than the above, so other than this 23 ka age, what will be the other ages? When he was 1, it was valid. 3 jab tha, tabhi it was valid tha. 29 mein valid, 69, 87. So other than 23, we find 5 more cases. So the answer here is option D, which is 5. In this question, we are given two figures, AB is 16 and both the figures, okay, PQR divide A and B into equal lengths, okay. AB into equal lengths, all the curves are semicircles. If A and B are the areas of the shaded figures, then figure 1 and 2, okay. So here, basically AB ka length is fixed, AB is 16 and all these points are basically dividing it up into equal fragments. So let's start by the first figure. Here, AB is essentially 16, right? So that means what? AQ is 8, QB is also 8. Now, if you they're telling us that all of these are semicircles. AP will be again 4, PQ is also 4, QR is also 4, and RB is also 4. So this is like the division. of the numbers essentially. So this is 4, this is also 4, and if both of these are essentially semicircles, then do you not think कि this area and this area are going to be same? Mathematically also we can say कि if this is a semicircle, and this is 4, that means the radius is 2. So the area of the semicircle is going to be what? Half pi r square, which is half pi 2 square. So essentially twice pi. So for both of these, the area is going to be twice pi. Now, do I need to add for both of them? Not really. Why? Because see, they want us to figure out the area of only the shaded area. So this is shaded by them. This is not shaded by them. So what I could do here is, essentially if I take this and put this here, in that case, how does the figure look? The figure looks something like this. Instead of this, if I remove this portion and put it here, in that case, this essentially becomes one complete semicircle. So I don't have to do all the plus minus. I could essentially just figure out the area for this big semicircle and be done with it. So what will be for the big semicircle? And whatever I do here, the same thing I can do here also, because this tukra I can just bring it and paste it here. In that case, I'll have this one big semicircle and I'll have another big semicircle like this. So I'll have basically just these two figures like that. Now the thing is, this one and this one are also same. Why are this one and this one same? Because if this length is 16, then this length is 8, this length is also 8. So for both of these semicircles, the radius is going to be same. So I can basically say that for this one, the area is going to be 2 into half pi r square. And now if this is 8, which means the radius is 4. So pi 4 square. So essentially for figure A, figure 1, the area is basically 16 pi. Now let's move to figure 2. Figure 2 also is very similar to figure A. Essentially our approach is going to be similar to that. What we will do is, we'll take this, put it here, take this, put it here, take this, put it here, take this, put it here. In that case, our figure basically becomes something like this. Something like this. This is the area we need to figure out for. Now, this whole thing is basically 16. So that gives me, this is 4, this is 4, this is 4, this is 4. 4, 4, 4, 4, which means the radius of each of these is 2. Radius of each of these is 2. So what will be the area of this figure? So for figure 2, the area will basically be, because 4 of these are there, no? So 4 times, what is the area of a semicircle? Half pi r square. R is what here? 2. So half pi 2 square. So this is 4. 4 by 2 is again 2. So I just cancel this anyways. So figure 2 ka area is basically 8 pi. So I have figure 1 ka area is 16 pi. Figure 2 ka area is 8 pi. Okay, so this one is the area of the shaded figure. Okay, so figure 1 ka area is given by greatest integer function of A. Now what is greatest integer function? Greatest integer function, or floor function as we call it. This basically gives us something like, say if I have 2.98, and if I put a greatest integer, then this is giving me 2. So basically greatest integer function tells me, gives me the value, gives as output the value of the number, the greatest integer which is less than this number. So 2.98 gives me 2, 2.01 also gives me 2. Something like just 2 will definitely give me 2 only. So what is the greatest integer which is smallest than this? So this, it's not a round off function. Okay. So now when I have figure 1 ka area to be 16 pi, and they have given this because they want us to approximate. So pi ka approximation, let's take 3.14. We'll just take pi to be equal to 3.14. In that case, what is A? A will basically be 3.14 times 16. And B here will basically be 3.14 times 8. Let's calculate this first because then I can just multiply it and get 16. So B ka it will be 8 3s are 24, 8 4s are 32, 3, 8, 11, 1, 24, 25, 25.12. And A will basically be 25.12 times 2, so which will be 50.24. So what is greatest integer function of A? This is 50. And what is greatest integer function of B? This is 25. So once we have these, okay, A is 50, B is 25. So let's consider these. A minus B is a non-zero number. This is true. A is 50, mod B is 25. 50 minus 25 is 25. So A minus B is a non-zero number. This is true. This is correct. A is equal to 5/4 of B. That is definitely not correct. The relation we'll have is GIF A is equal to twice of GIF B. That is the relation that we got from 50 and 25. So this is incorrect. This is also incorrect. And A is not equal to B easily. This is also incorrect. So the correct answer here is option A, which is A and B. Greatest integer function of A minus floor of B is a non-zero number. In this question, we are told that the sum of 11 consecutive natural numbers is 121, then the sum of the next 3 numbers is. So 11 consecutive numbers, obviously if I take the first number to be A, then the second number will be A plus 1, the next number will be A plus 2, all the way till A plus 10, because that will be the 11th number. If A is the first number, A plus 10 will be the 11th number. This sum is basically equal to 121. So this side, so I can easily figure out, right? So how many A's will be there? 1, 2, 3, all the way till 11 numbers are there. So this one gives me 11A plus 1 plus 2 plus all the way till 10. This is equal to 121. Now, if you know this sum, that is 55. That's good. If you don't know, then you should know this formula. So basically, the formula is sum of all the natural numbers up to n, 1 plus 2 plus all the way till n, sum of n consecutive natural numbers is given by n into n plus 1 divided by 2. So 1 plus 2 plus all the way till 10 is going to be 10 into 10 plus 1, which is 11 divided by 2. So that's 55. So here I could directly write this 11A plus 55 is basically equal to 121. From here I could figure out the value of A. If you notice 11A, 55, 121, all of these are multiples of 11. So just take 11 common and cancel it out. That's 11, this becomes 5 and this becomes 11 because 11 into 11 is 121. So equation becomes A plus 5 is equal to 11 or A is equal to 11 minus 5, which is 6. So the numbers start from 6 and go all the way till 16. What are the next 3 numbers? The next 3 numbers are 17, 18 and 19. They want us to find the sum of all the 3 numbers. So we like 17 plus 18 plus 19. Now you can add these, or you can directly just do it 18 times 3, because 19 I can write it to be 18 plus 1, 17 I can write it to be 18 minus 1, plus 1 minus 1 gets cancelled out, I am left with 18 into 3, and 8 3s gives me 24, so this should end in a 4, which tells me option A has to be the correct answer. If you calculate it, it's still 54 only, but one of the hacks, like, just compare with the unit digit. So option A, 54 is the correct answer here.
Olympiads కి ప్రిపేర్ అవుతున్నారా? దెన్ యూర్ ఆల్రెడీ బిల్డింగ్ ద స్కిల్స్ నీడెడ్ ఫర్ జేఈ టుమారో. ఆ ప్రిపరేషన్ని నెక్స్ట్ లెవెల్కి తీసుకెళ్ళండి విత్ క్రాకూస్ జేఈ ఫౌండేషన్ బ్యాచ్ ఫర్ క్లాసెస్ 8 to 10. ఐఐటిఎన్ ఫ్యాకల్టీ లైవ్ క్లాసెస్తో మ్యాథ్స్, ఫిజిక్స్ అండ్ కెమిస్ట్రీ నేర్చుకోండి. 5,000+ ప్రాక్టీస్ క్వశ్చన్స్తో ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి. అండ్ రెగ్యులర్ బైవీక్లీ టెస్ట్తో మీ ప్రోగ్రెస్ని ట్రాక్ చేసుకోండి. మీ ఒలింపియాడ్ ప్రిపరేషన్ని స్ట్రాంగ్గా చేసుకోండి జేఈ ఫౌండేషన్తో. జాయిన్ క్రాకూ టుడే, ద లింక్ ఇస్ ఇన్ ద డిస్క్రిప్షన్.
In this question, we are told a big ship wrecked and 1,000 people are landed on a remote island. Food and materials are available for them for 60 days. After 16 days, another small ship which had no food stock wrecked and 100 people landed on the same island. The number of days the food materials for all of them available is. Okay, so essentially they are telling us that there was a big ship which had 1,000 people, and in that they had food for 60 days. So if I say ki, let's say, if I say let one person consume 1 unit per day. So if I take this, in that case, what happens in the first case? There were 1,000 people and food was for 60 days. So if one person is consuming 1 unit in a day, then the one person will consume 60 units in 60 days. And if one person is consuming 60 units and there are 1,000 people, so what is the total food available? The total food available essentially becomes 60 into 1,000 units. Enough. We need to have this much food so that one person, if they are consuming 1 unit, then 60 days they are consuming 60 units, and if one person is consuming 60 units, then 1,000 people will consume 60 into 1,000 units, and that is the total amount of food that is there for us. So this total food is basically 60,000 units. Okay, now they tell us what? After 16 days another ship came. 16 days. So for the first 16 days they had eaten the food, hai na? So for the first 16 days, how much food was spent? One person is consuming 1 unit. In 16 days he is consuming 16 units. And how many people are there? Total mein 1,000 people were there. So in the first 16 days, a total of 16,000 units was spent. How much food was remaining? So the remaining food is basically 60,000 minus 16,000, which is basically 44,000. 44,000 units is remaining. Now the thing is, another ship came after the 16 days and that one did not have any food. Usme there were 100 more people. So now what is the total people? Total people has increased and become what? Pehle 1,000 tha. New 100 are joining. So essentially 1,100 people are there now. 1,100 people, 44,000 units of food. How many days will it go? 1,100 people, 44,000 units of food. Number of days would basically be total food divided by total people. 11 4s. So they have food remaining for 40 more days. So that gives me the answer is option C, which is 40. In this question, we are told that two numbers are respectively 28% and 70% of a third number. The percentage of the first number to the second is. So if I take that two numbers are there, one is 28% of the third, the second is 70% of the third. So let's consider that the third number is x. Na? If the third number is x, then the first number is what? Let's call it n1. n1 is basically what? 28% of x. 28% of x means 0.28x. The second number, which is n2, this is equal to, okay, let's consider the number to be n3. That's easier that way. 0.28 plus n3. Second number is 70% of third number. So n2 is 0.70 or basically 0.7 of n3. Percentage of the first number to the second. First number to the second. How do I calculate the percentage? Percentage of first number to the second is first number divided by second number into 100. So this is basically 0.28 n3 divided by 0.70 n3 into 100. So n3 gets cancelled out. Points also, if you want, you can remove. So that leaves me with 7 4s are 28 and 7 10s are 70. Zeros get cancelled out. So this is 40%. So the answer here will be option A, which is 40%. In this question, we are told that the sum of two natural numbers is 150, their HCF is 15, the number of pairs of such numbers is. Two numbers ka HCF is 15 means what? The highest common factor that they can have is 15. So I can say ki let the numbers be 15A and 15B, where A and B are co-prime. What is co-prime? Co-prime means ki A and B ka they don't have any other common factors. A and B, they can be something like 2 and 3. It can be something like 4 and 9. They not A and B are not prime, but A and B are co-prime, as in they don't have any common factors between them. So if I take the numbers to be 15A and 15B, we are told the sum is 150. So 15A plus 15B is equal to 150. This one basically gives me A plus B is 10. Now I need to figure out the number of pairs of A and B. A and B have to be such that A and B ke beech mein there are no factors. So what I can do is, let's do simple hit and trial only. A can be 1, then B is 9. This is fine. A can be 1 and 9 because 1 and 9 do not have any common factors. If A is 2, then B is 8. But this is not acceptable. Why? Because 2 and 8 have a common factor 2. I want A and B to be co-prime. So this is not there. 3, 7, that is fine. 4, 6, again not there because 2 ka factor hai. 5, 5, definitely not there. And then I'll have like 6, 6, 4, and this is basically the ulta of this. So, and because we don't know what is A, what is B, so how many pairs do I get? I get 2 such pairs. So how many pairs will there be? This is one pair, this is second pair. So the number of pairs of such numbers is 2. So option B here is the correct answer. In this question, we are told that ABC and ADE are isosceles triangles. If BFD is 156, then angle A equals. What is an isosceles triangle? An isosceles triangle is a triangle which has two sides to be equal. So like if this is a triangle, then if this side is say equal to this side, then we can say this is an isosceles triangle. Another property for isosceles triangles is the sides which are equal, unke saath the angles that they are being made, those angles are also equal. So what I mean is, if this side is equal to this side, then this angle is also going to be equal to this angle. So that is something that we need to remember whenever we are solving isosceles triangle ke questions. Now if we go into this one says BFD is given to be 156. BFD. So this angle is essentially 156 degrees. What are the isosceles triangles? ABC. So this one is an isosceles triangle. If this one is an isosceles triangle, then looking into the figure, what can we say? We can say that this side is probably equal to this side, because this is clearly not going to be the equal side. Consider the figure, na? So if this side is equal to this side, means this angle is basically equal to this angle. Similarly, when I take this triangle ADE, this triangle, I can obviously say this side is probably equal to this side. So if these two sides are equal, then this angle is going to be equal to this angle. So what do I get? In this figure AEFC, three angles are equal. Let's say all three of them are basically x. And this one is 156. So, and what is this? These are two lines. So if this is 156, this one is also going to be 156. Why? Because they are vertically opposite angles. Now, if you consider this quadrilateral ACFE, in this quadrilateral ACFE, what is the sum of all the four angles of a quadrilateral? Sum of all the four angles of a quadrilateral, no matter what the quadrilateral is always 360 degrees. This angle I know, these three angles are all x. So I can say x plus x plus x plus 156 is going to be equal to 360 degrees. So this one gives me 3x is essentially 360 minus 156. 360 minus 160 is 200. This is 156. So that's 204. So x is basically equal to 204 by 3, which is 3 6 are 18, 3 7 are 24, 3 8 are 24. So x is essentially 68 degrees, which tells me the correct answer here is option A. In this question, we are told that some students are made to stand in rows of equal number, one behind the other. Saket is in third row from the front, is in the third row from the front and fifth row from the back. He is fourth from the left and sixth from the right. The total number of students is. So here what they are telling us, that they are arranging the things something like this. These are the rows and these are the columns basically. And obviously students are arranged in rows of equal number, one behind the other. So that means what? If this row has say 4 people, then this row also has 4 people, this row also has 4 people. So basically this will be something like a rectangle, no? Idhar mein how many people are there at the front? Same number of people are in all of the rows, same number of people are there in all the columns. So that is the takeaway here. Now let's consider Saket. Saket, let's consider his position to be S. He is in the third row from the front. So if I count from the front, then he is in the third row, which means there is one person here, second person here, third person is Saket. And he is fifth row from the back. So if I count from the back, then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one is Saket. So that tells me what, how many people are there in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So each row has 7 people. The other question is, other thing says, fourth from the left. So if I'm counting from the left, then Saket is 1, 2, 3, fourth person here. And sixth from the right. So if I'm counting from the right side, then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth one is Saket. So how many those are there? How many rows are there now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So how many total people will be there? Total number of people will be 9 into 7, which is 63. So the correct answer here should be option C, which is 63. So in this question, we are told that ABCD is a rectangle and angle EBD is. So this is a rectangle, and what is the property? The one property of a rectangle is that all the four angles are basically 90 degrees. Like if I have a rectangle something like this, this is 90, this is 90, this is 90, this is also 90. So keeping that in mind, let's jump into this figure. This figure mein they want us to find EBD. EBD. So basically this angle they want us to find. Okay. This angle will be 90. This angle will be 90. This angle will also be 90. And this whole thing will also be 90 only. Okay. And this whole thing is also going to be 90 only. So if I consider this triangle, this one, triangle AEB. In triangle AEB, if this is 70, this is 90, in that case, what is this angle? This angle is basically, what is this angle? This angle is basically 180 minus 90 minus 70, because sum of all the three angles is 180. So this gives me 90, 90 minus 70, this is 20. So this small angle is basically 20 degrees. Now this is the angle they want us to find, right? Let's call it X. So what will be the relation here in this angle B? Angle B mein we will have 20 plus X plus 58 is basically equal to 90, because this whole angle B is 90, no? So if this whole thing is 90, this tukra is 20, this is 58. So sum of all of it should be 90. That gives me X is basically equal to 90 minus 20 minus 58. So 90 minus 20 is 70. 70 minus 60 is 10. So 70 minus 58 is 12. So what is the value of this angle? Then angle EDB, or sorry, the angle EBD is basically equal to 12 degrees. So 12 is the answer here. Okay, in this question we are told that an infinite sequence of positive numbers x1, okay, up to whatever, it's infinite sequence, satisfies this condition: xn square equals 3n plus 7 plus n minus 3 into xn plus 1. So this is a recurrence. Recurrence relations, what do they do? Ki like a new term is formed by using the previous term. Xn is the nth term of the sequence, then the numerical value of x1 is. Now, one thing to note here is they have clearly not given us any starting point. Like just say x5 is this or x9 is this. In that case, we could have like substituted the values, calculated and gone back up to x1. So we need to be a little smart here. The issue with this is, why is this a recurrence? This thing, this one is a recurrence because it uses xn plus 1 and it also uses xn. If given a chance, can I make one of these to be definitely 0? Well, I can't actually say if I can make xn or xn plus 1 to be 0, but what I can say is this term I can technically make 0 if I have n to be equal to 3. In that case, this term essentially becomes 0. Because n minus 3 becomes 0, and if n minus 3 is 0, whatever is the value of xn plus 1, this whole thing is going to be 0. So that would be the smart substitution that we do here. Let's begin this. We have xn square. We have xn square equals thrice n plus 7 plus n minus 3 into xn plus 1. So we begin with an n equals 3. If I take n to be equal to 3, in that case, x3 ka square is basically equal to 3 into 3, n ke jagah mein we are putting 3, so 3 into 3, 9 plus 7 is 16, plus whatever this value is, and 3 minus 3, this one is 0, so 16 plus 0 or basically 16. So that tells me x3 is basically square root of 16. Now this is a sequence of positive numbers, x1, x2 and all of these are positives. So x3 I can say will not be plus minus 4, it will be only 4. So I have one definite value now, x3 is equal to 4. Now using this, I can back calculate and go all the way till 1. How do I do that? I'll put n is equal to 2. In that case, x2 square is basically equal to 3 into 2 plus 7 plus 2 minus 3 into x3. So this gives me x2 square is essentially 6 plus 7, 13. 2 minus 3 is minus 1 and x3 is 4, so this is minus 4. So this is basically 9. x2 square is 9, that gives me x2 is equal to 3. Finally, we can put n to be equal to 1 and we get the value that we want. x1 squared is equal to 3 into 1 plus 7 minus 1 minus, sorry, this is plus 1 minus 3 into x2. That gives me 7 plus 3, 10. 1 minus 3 is minus 2 into x2 is 3. So 10 minus 3 into 2, 6. So this is 4. So x1 is essentially 2. So we have it. They want us to find the value of x1 and the answer for this is x1 is equal to 2. So in this question, we are told that for n greater than or equal to 2 and n belongs to z, n is an integer, the smallest positive integer n for which none of these fractions, 17 by n plus 17, 18 by n plus 18, up till 100 by n plus 100 can be simplified. None of these can be simplified. What is simplification of a fraction? Like if I write something like say 4 by 8, I can simplify it and write it to be 1 by 2. So simplification is basically we get common terms. So when I say two terms can't be simplified, they are something like this. 3 by 8 can't be simplified. How do we get that? We get that when the GCD of the two numbers, let's call them numerator and denominator, the GCD of the numerator and denominator is 1, only then the numbers cannot be simplified further. Now numbers cannot be simplified. Yeah. So this is the condition we want. None of these are supposed to be able to be simplified. So see, it's going from 17, 18, 19 all the way till 100. So I can say what is the general term I can get from here? General term would look something like say k by n plus k, where k is running from 17 to 100. In that case, this is k is running from 17 to 100. In that case, this is the general term of all of this. And what do we want? We want the GCD or the HCF, basically GCD of k and n plus k to be equal to 1. Now we know the property, right? Like if GCD of k and n plus k is equal to 1, that means the GCD of k and n will also be equal to 1. because GCD k into n plus k, k and n plus k, this is same as GCD k and n. So if I have this, like GCD k and n is equal to 1, and k is going from 17 to 100. Now n has to be one number which for any of these numbers, 17 to 100 tak, any of these numbers will have no common. What are those numbers which have like no commons? Those numbers are primes, right? So one thing we understand that n has to be a prime, and also so n has to be a prime. That is one thing. The second thing is n has to be such that it has nothing, like from 17 to 100, it has to be more than that, because for any number n which is less than 100, here that prime exists. Let's say if I take n to be equal to 23, or I take n to be equal to 31, in that case this is there, the number is there, so GCD nk will not be equal to 1. So n has to be a prime and n has to be greater than 100. We can write equal to also, but why? N has to be greater than 100. Only in that case this works. Now they want us to find the smallest positive integer. What is the smallest prime number after this? The smallest prime number luckily is 101. So here the smallest possible value for n is 101. The next number, the smallest 3-digit prime, is 101, which is just after 100. So we can say the correct answer here should be n equals 10. Okay, so in this question we are told that in triangle ABC, AB equals 15, BC equals 20, CA equals 25, then the length of the shortest altitude of the triangle in centimeters is. Okay, so if you are if looking at these numbers, it's not screaming right angle, then to we okay, so seeing these numbers 15, 20 and 25, the first thought that should come to your mind is, okay, these are Pythagorean triplets, right? Because this is basically what, 3k, this is 4k, and this is 5k, and 3, 4, 5 is the first smallest Pythagorean triplet. So AB, BC, CA, these are a Pythagorean triplet, which means they have to be a right angle triangle. If we were not able to figure that out, still we could have checked, okay, like what is the sum of the squares of the two sides and what is the third side, right? So if I have here like AB squared plus BC squared, this is basically 15 square plus 20 square, and 15 square is 225, 20 square is 400, so that is 625. 625 is 25 square, which is AC or CA square. So for this triangle, we basically got this, ki AB square plus BC square is equal to CA squared. That means what? That means triangle ABC is a right angle triangle. So if it's a right angle triangle, let's just sketch it out something like this. CA was the longest side, sorry. So we can do this A, B, C. This is 25. Let's say AB is 15 and BC is 20. Now, what will be the three diagonals? Sorry, what will be the three altitudes? Every triangle has three heights, and we need to figure out the smallest altitude, shortest one. So what will be the three altitudes? What is the definition for an altitude? The definition for an altitude is from the vertex, you drop a perpendicular to the opposite base. Here, if I take this to be the base, let's say if I take this to be the base, in that case, what is the perpendicular that is dropped? This one only, na? So AB is an altitude here. Similarly, if I had taken AB to be the base, in that case, BC is an altitude. So from point A, AB is the altitude. From point C, BC is the altitude. From point B, what will be the altitude? From point B, we can essentially construct something like this. This will be the altitude. Now, which will be the shortest one? AB wala altitude ka I know it's 15, BC wala altitude I know it's 20. This one, let's call it BM. This is what we need to figure out. Now, how do we figure this out? There can be multiple approaches here. One could be that I take this length to be x, and then this, I take this length to be x, and then this is 25 minus x. And then because all of these are right angle triangles, I apply the Pythagorean triplet many times to like basically simplify, figure out the value of x. After that, I do that. Another approach would be the area approach, which is the much easier approach. What do we know? The area of triangle ABC. What is the formula for area? Formula for area is half base height. Right. Now, this will be half. If I consider BC to be the base, in that case, AB is the height. So I can write half BC into AB. Similarly, I can also write half if I consider AC to be the base. If AC is the base, then BM is the height. So half AC into BM. And what are these two formulae telling us? Both of them are essentially giving us the area for the same triangle. So because they are the same triangle, we can essentially equate them. Simplify, halves gets cancelled out. BC is 15, AB is 20, AC is 25, BM. Okay, so 5 3s are 15, 5 5s are 25, 5 4. So BM is basically 12 centimeters. Is it centimeters? Yeah. BM is basically 12 centimeters. So here we have this. So what are the three altitudes now? One altitude is 15, one is 20, other is 12. The length of the shortest altitude is 12 centimeters. Length of the triangle in centimeters is 12. 12 is the answer here. So in this question, they want us to find the units digit of this. Now, units digit depends only on the last digit. It does not really depend on the whole number. Now, the thing for units digit is all the numbers have a cyclical pattern. Like they repeat. What I mean is, like because 9 is the units digit here, what I can say is 9 to the power 1 gives me 9. 9 to the power 2 is 81. So what is the units digit? 1. Here the units digit is 9. 81 mein units digit is 1. 9 cube is 81 into 3. 81 into 9. Which is 729. So what is the units digit? Again 9. 9 to the power 4 is 729 into 9. 9 to the power 4 is 729 into 9. I think that is 6561. So the units digit is again 1. And if you notice, this pattern is going to repeat forever. Because 1 jab bhi aata hai, the next number is into 9. So this one ends in a 9. Whatever this number is, this ends in a 9. After that, again when I multiply with a 9, 9 9s gives me 81. So this pattern will continue forever. So 9k digits, the units digit keeps repeating between 1 and 9. So whenever we have a number ending in 9, we can say that the units digit will be 9 if the power is odd, and the units digit will be 1 whenever the power is even. So that tells me what is this 19 to the power 2025. Essentially the units digit will depend on 9 only, and 2025 is an odd power. So from here the units digit will be 9. Similarly 999 to the power 2023. Again the units digit depends on the last one only, which is 9. 9 to the power odd, this also gives me a 9. So now 19 to the power 2025 is some number ending with a 9. Similarly, 999 to the power 2023 is also some number ending with a 9. You want to find the sum of these. What will be the last digit here? 9 plus 9 gives me an 18. So the sum is essentially going to be some number that ends in an 8. So that tells me the units digit of this big expression is essentially going to be 8.
టాప్ జేఈ ర్యాంక్స్ ఓవర్ నైట్లో రావు. దే ఆర్ బిల్ట్ విత్ అన్ ఎర్లీ అండ్ స్ట్రాంగ్ ఫౌండేషన్. క్రాకో జేఈ ఫౌండేషన్ బ్యాచ్లో క్లాసెస్ 8 to 10 స్టూడెంట్స్ మ్యాథ్స్, ఫిజిక్స్ అండ్ కెమిస్ట్రీ ఫండమెంటల్స్ని ఐఐటిఎన్ ఫ్యాకల్టీ లైవ్ క్లాసెస్తో స్ట్రాంగ్గా బిల్డ్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. 5,000+ ప్రాక్టీస్ క్వశ్చన్స్ అండ్ రెగ్యులర్ బైవీక్లీ టెస్ట్తో కన్సిస్టెంట్గా ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసి ప్రిపరేషన్లో అహెడ్ వెళ్ళొచ్చు. మీరు మీ జర్నీకి రైట్ హెడ్ స్టార్ట్ ఇవ్వండి. జాయిన్ క్రాకో టుడే, ద లింక్ ఇస్ ఇన్ ద డిస్క్రిప్షన్.
In this question, we are told that n is a 2-digit number. When 6 is added to the 10th digit and 2 is subtracted from the units digit, we get a 2-digit number which is equal to 3n. Then n is. So n is a 2-digit number. Let's say n is 10a plus b. That is the way we write 2-digit numbers, right? Where a and b are basically the digits. Like say if I had n to be equal to 37, I'll write n to be 3 into 10 plus 7. So that is of the form 10a plus b. So now that tells me n is a 2-digit number when 6 is added to the 10th digit. So 10th digit is what? A. So a may if I add 6 and 2 is subtracted from the units digit. Units digit is b. B say if I subtract 2, we get a 2-digit number. Okay, so after this also, we get a 2-digit number only. This is the number which is equal to 3n. This one is equal to 3n, which is essentially 3 into 10a plus b. The original number. Then n is what? So we need to figure out the value of n. So what we can do is, we'll simplify it thoda sa first. And the second thing is, a and b are basically digits. So if a and b are digits, that means a and b ka values will basically lie from 0 to 9. They can't be anything more than that. So that will help us out a little bit. Let's solve this. This gives me 10a plus 60 plus b minus 2 is equal to 30a plus 3b. So 30a minus 10a, that gives me 20a. 3b minus b, that gives me a 2b. This is equal to 60 minus 2, which is 58. I can like just remove the 2 na. I get rid of the 2. That's 29. So I am left with what? I'm left with 10a plus b is equal to 29. Okay, so I didn't really have to figure out the values of a and b. Essentially, I am left with 10a plus b, which is 29, and 10a plus b is actually n. So that gives me the value of n is 29. In this question, we are told that the product of two positive numbers x and y is 4 times their sum and same product is 8 times their difference. Product of two positive numbers x and y. So x plus y, sorry, x into y, xy is basically equal to 4 times their sum. So that is 4x plus y. And the same product is, so xy is 8 times the difference, and also it's given x is greater than or equal to y. So I can write this is 8 x minus y. Why can I do that? Because x and y are positive, so xy ka product is also going to be positive. So if I know that this product is going to be positive, then I have to take x minus y. I can't take y minus x because x is greater than or equal to y. So x minus y is greater than equal to 0. Y minus x is less than equal to 0. And if it was negative, then this side would become negative. So I can write this. Then x is, they want us to figure out the value of x. Okay. I think subtraction should be the way to go here. Right, 4x plus 4y, and this is 8x minus 8y. Let's just subtract. That gives me 0 is equal to 4 minus 8. This is minus 4x. 4x minus minus becomes plus. So this is plus 12y. So that gives me 4x is equal to 12y, or x is equal to thrice y. They want us to figure out the value of x. So I can substitute for y, get a quadratic, find for x. That is what I'll do. So x into y is equal to 4x plus 4y. I'll substitute for y. Y is equal to x by 3. So y ki jagah mein I'll put x by 3. Now we can just simplify it. It's basically a quadratic in x, right? All we need to do is solve for x. So what I can do is x square by 3 is equal to 4x. If I take common, then this is 1 plus 1 by 3, right? 1 plus 1 by 3, and 1 plus 1 by 3 is 1 plus 1 by 3 is 4 by 3 into 4 by 3. So 3's ko acha we can cancel out. So we have x square is equal to 16x. So that gives me x is equal to 0 will be one solution, right? And if x is not equal to 0, in that case I can write x is equal to 16. These are the two solutions I'll get. I can take x, basically what I can do here is x square minus 16x is equal to 0, taken it to this side. So x common, x minus 16 is equal to 0. So this gives me x is equal to 0, or x minus 16 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 16. These are the two roots that I have. Once I have these two roots, x is greater than or equal to y, and x is positive. So positive se to I can easily eliminate x to be equal to 0. So x is equal to 16. 16 is the correct answer here. In this question, we are told that in the adjoining figure is a regular octagon. The measure of angle ADG, okay? ADG, this angle is what we need to figure out. Okay. Now, what are the things that I know about a regular octagon? Regular octagon, each angle will basically be equal to the sum of all the angles of a regular octagon. Sum of all the angles of an octagon will basically be given by this formula, n minus 2 into 180, and n will be equal to 8, because n is the number of sides, and in octagon the number of sides is 8. So this is 6 into 180, and for a regular octagon, each angle would basically be equal to, this is 6 into 180 divided by 8, because all the 8 angles are equal. So sum ko equally divide karega sab mein. Simplifying this, 2 3s are 6, 2 4s are 8, 90, 45. So this is basically 135 degree. So each angle in the regular octagon is essentially 135 degree, which means what? Which means this angle is 135. This angle is 135. All of these angles are basically 135 degrees. Like this one also, this one also, this one also. Now, why did I do this? Basically, I wanted to find, if you know the property, then so you don't really need to. But the idea is this line is actually parallel to this line. Why? How can we show this? We can tell that because, see, it's a regular octagon. So this side is essentially equal to this side. which tells me that this GDEF is basically an isosceles trapezium. If I didn't even know if it's an isosceles trapezium, I could have proven that as well. What I could say is this is a quadrilateral, right? And because this side is equal to this side, so this angle is basically going to be equal to this angle. Now, sum of all these four angles should be equal to 180. Sorry, sum of all these four angles should be equal to 360, which means that this one plus twice of this is equal to 360. So 135 plus 135 is basically 270, and 360 minus 270 is 90. So half of 90 is 45. So this angle is a 45 degree. This angle is also a 45 degree. So if this is a 45 degree angle, that tells me what? If this whole angle is 135 and this chota tukra is 45, that means this remaining area, this one is a 90 degree. Right? I can prove it that this one is a 90. Why? Because this whole angle is 135, and if the whole thing is 135, this is 45, so subtract it, remaining is 90. If this is 90, similarly, if I take this one, if I take this trapezium, in that case I can also show this one is also 90, because this is 135, this is 135, which means this is 45 and this is also 45. Now, there can be multiple ways to approach this. One would be to say, okay, if I take this whole triangle, this whole quadrilateral, like AHGD, in that case, sum of all of it should be 360 again. This is 135. These are 90. So I can subtract and get this. Another thing would be, if I say this thing, this angle is also 135 degrees. So if this is 135, what will be this small angle? This small angle plus 45 degree plus 45 degree is basically equal to 135. So from here also I basically get this is 45 degrees. So what is the value of this, the angle that they want us to figure out? The value of this angle is 45 degrees. So the answer is 45. Okay, so in this question we are told that if 2 to the power 3a plus 2 equals 4 to the power b plus 7 and 3 to the power a plus 10 is equal to 27 to the power 2b plus 10, then the value of a square plus b square is. Okay, so this is a very simple exponential equation. What we need to do is make the bases similar, then the powers are going to be equal. The rule follows that if a to the power m is equal to a to the power n, in that case I'll have m to be equal to n. That is the rule, that is the exponents ka formula that we will be using here. Let's consider the first equation. We have 2 to the power 3a plus 2 is equal to 4 to the power b plus 7. Here, obviously 2 and 4 are not equal, but 4 ko I can write it to be 2 square. So 2 square whole to the power b plus 7. This basically becomes 2 to the power 2 into b plus 7. Here we use the exponents ka rule. A to the power m whole thing to the power n is basically equal to a to the power m into n. So that if I use, then I have 2 to the power 3a plus 2 is equal to this. Bases become same, I equate the powers, so I get thrice a plus 2 is basically equal to twice b plus 14, or 3a minus 2b is equal to 12, or just write it 3a is equal to 2b plus 12. This is our one equation. Second equation, I'll simplify this one. This one says 3 to the power a plus 10 is equal to 27 to the power 2b plus 10. 27 is basically 3 cube. 9 3s are 27. So this I can write 3 to the power 3 into 2b plus 10. So I can equate them and write a plus 10 is basically equal to 3 to the power 2b plus 10. If I break it, 3 2s are 6b and 10 3s are 30. So this is 6b plus 30. From here, a is equal to 6b plus 20. Okay, so now I can solve for b, right? I can just substitute a ka value here. I substitute this, then 3 is equal to 6b plus 20. A ke jagah mein I am putting this. This is equal to twice b plus 12. So that gives me 18b plus 60 is equal to twice b plus 12. Now 18 minus 2b is 16b. And 60 minus 12 is minus 40. 60 minus 12 is 48. This is equal to 0. 16 3s are 48. So b plus 3 into 16 is equal to 0, or b is basically equal to minus. If I have b to be equal to minus 3, then a is what? I can just put it here. A is equal to 6 into minus 3 plus 20. This is 6 3s are minus 18 plus 20, which is 2. So a I get to be 2, b I get to be minus 3. They want us to figure out the value of a square plus b square. A square plus b square is what? 2 square plus minus 3 square, which is 3 square 9, 9 plus 4, 13. So the answer here is 13. In this question, we are told that ABCD is a rectangle, AB equals 6 and AD is 10. E is a point on BC such that AE is 10. The area of the triangle ADE in square units is. Okay, so these are basically 10 units, 6 units. So we need to find the answer in square units. Fair enough. Let's go to the figure. This one is a rectangle. So all the angles are 90 degree, opposite sides are equal and parallel. AB is 6. If AB is 6, that means DC is also 6, because in a rectangle the opposite sides are equal and parallel. AD is 10. So AD is 10. So if this is 10, that means this whole thing is also 10. E is a point such that AE is also 10. Okay, so this one is also 10. I need to figure out the area of the triangle ADE. Okay. Can be done. Area of the triangle ADE, I think easier way would be to find a rectangle and then subtract. Because in this triangle, I am not very sure if this is the right angle or not. So I'll have to basically construct a height and all of that. But these triangles, this one and this one, these I know for a fact that these are right angle triangles. Why? Because this angle is 90. This angle is also 90. So I can use that to my advantage, right? Now, consider this triangle. This is 10, this is 6. What will be BE? We have something called the Pythagoras theorem. In that, we say sum of the squares of the two sides is equal to the square of the longest side, only in the right angle triangle. In this right angle triangle, if I take BE to be equal to say x, in that case, I'll write AB square plus BE square is equal to AE square. That is the Pythagoras theorem. So AB square basically is 6 square and BE square, let's say it's x square, and AE is 10 square. 6, 8, 10 is basically a Pythagorean triplet. If you don't know, you can still solve this and say x square is basically 10 square is 100 minus 6 square, which is 36. 100 minus 36 is 64. 64 is 8 square. So basically x is equal to 8. If x is equal to 8, means BE, this length, is 8. If the whole thing is 10 and this is 8, that means what? This has to be 2. Figure is obviously not to scale, right? So this has to be 2. Now if this is 2, again I can, okay, now I don't really need the Pythagorean triplet to find this because I can just solve for it. What I can say is area of the triangle AED is basically what? It is the area of the rectangle ABCD minus area of the triangle ABE minus area of the triangle DCE. Now what is the area of the rectangle ABCD? Rectangle ka area is base into height, or basically length into breadth. So this is 10, this is 6. The area of the rectangle is 10 into 6 minus ABE. ABE is a right angle triangle. So right angle triangle mein base, if I take 8 to be base, in that case height is 6. So this is half 8, 6. Same for DCE. DCE isme if I take base to be 6, then height is 2. So that is half 6, 2. Okay, now we can just simplify this thoda sa. 10 6 are 60. This 3, this is 24, and this is 6. 24 minus 6 is 30. 30 minus 60 is 30. So what is the area of this remaining area? So what did I do here? I basically took the whole rectangle, right? And from this, I essentially subtracted this area. And I also subtracted this area. So what was I left with? I was left with this area, which is what they wanted us to find. So the answer here is area of the triangle ADE in square units is 30. So in this question, we are told that the numbers 1, 4, 7, 10 and 13 are placed in each box figure, okay, such that sum of the numbers in the horizontal or vertical boxes are the same. The largest possible value of the horizontal or vertical sum is. Okay, so what are the numbers? The numbers are 1, 4, 7, 10 and 13. They are placed here. We are told that the horizontal sum, as in this number plus this number plus this number, this is the horizontal sum. And this number plus this number plus this number, this will give me the vertical sum. They want us to figure out largest possible value of horizontal or vertical. Largest possible value they want for horizontal or vertical means ki like I need to place a big number here. Because if I place a big number here, then no matter what I take, horizontal or vertical, I'll get the biggest answer. What is the biggest number in the choices that are given? In the choices, the biggest number we have is 13. If I place 13 here, will I be able to arrange the other numbers such that sum of the numbers in the horizontal and vertical is same? As in like if I add these three, whatever I get, let's say I get x, same idhar also I'll get x. That is the thing. If I place 13 here, can I get that? I actually can. I mean 7 plus 4 is 11, 10 plus 1 is also 11. So no matter what I place, let's say I place 7 here and 4 here, and I place 10 here and 1 here. In that case, the horizontal sum and the vertical sum is same, which gives me the largest possible value will be 23 plus 1, 24. Largest possible sum is 24. Now, what would have happened if I had, there will be other cases also, right, where I'll get the similar thing. This one, the answer is 24. Let's consider a different case here. if say I had not placed 13 and instead say I had placed 10 in the center, can I still get numbers to be arranged that way? I actually can, because I can't. If I had placed 10 here, I would not have found arrangements, because 13 plus 1 is 14 and 7 plus 4 is 11. So that would not have worked. But if I place, say, something 7, if I had 7, then I can get something now, because 10 plus 4 is 14 and 13 plus 1 is also 14. In that case, I would have had something like this. In this case also, this, if you see, this is 21. This is also 21. So the sum remains same in this case as well. But, and there will be one more case as well, if I had taken 1, if I had placed 1 in the center, in that case also I would have gotten 10 plus 7, 17 and 13 plus 4, 17. So that is not the point. The point is they want us to find the maximum. And when do we get the maximum? We get the maximum when I place 13 here, because only in that case this is working out. The largest possible value we are obtaining. So 13, we place 13 at the center and the largest possible sum is 24. In this question, we are asked the number of integer pairs mn such that m into n square plus 1 equals 48 is. Okay, so obviously they are integers. So integers bolte to the first thing we should know, remember, is this one will divide 48, this one will also divide 48. Like both of these are basically factors of 48. Here m and n square plus 1, both of these are factors of 48. If they are not factors, then product of two numbers, if it's giving me a third number, then both those numbers have to be products, considering that they are integers. If they're not integers, then that is not true. So m to be a factor of 48 is a very easy thing. N square plus 1 to be a factor of 48, that is thoda sa challenging, and that is where we need to do the evaluation. Now 48 is what? If I do say 4, then that's 12. So that's 12 is basically 2 square into 3, and 4 is another 2 square. So 48 is basically 2 to the power 4 into 3. So the number of factors of 48, 2 square into 3, 48 is basically 2 square into 3. So I need to figure out the factors of 48. What will be the factors of 48? 48 ke factors will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will not be a factor, 6, 8. Okay, so now I have reached the middle point. Why middle point? Because 6 into 8 is 48. So the remainings also will be that way only. Like 48 divided by 4 gives me 12. So 12 is a factor. Good. 48 divided by 3 is 16. So 16 is also a factor. 48 divided by 2 is 24. That is also a factor. And 48 divided by 1 is 48. So these are basically the factors of 48. The reason why we are only considering the positives here is because I want to evaluate for n square plus 1. And if you look into this number, you will realize that for any value of n, no matter n is positive or negative, n square plus 1 is always going to be positive. If this number is always positive, then what is the point of writing the negative factors? Because negative se to equate hi nahi karna hai. Negative to equate only we will not do. So what I get is, these are the factors of 48. N square plus 1 has to be one of the factors. So I can basically write n square plus 1 is equal to one of this. This means n square is equal to 1 minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 15, 23, 47. Are any of these squares? Because n square is equal to this. Are any of these squares? N has to be an integer. So I can't take a square root and write like 3 point something something. That won't work. Consider these. from here. None of these are essentially perfect squares. All of this rejected. N square का क्या values बना? N square can be 0 or 1. That means n can be what? N can be 0 or plus minus. M never really proposed any restrictions as such. The only restrictions were proposed by this n square plus 1, because n has to be an integer, n square plus 1 has to be a factor of 48. So n ke how many values I get? I get 3 choices, like 3 values of n. So which means how many integer pairs will I get? N ke liye I'll get 3. I'll get m0, something 1 and something minus 2. If I put this to be 0, then m is basically 48. If I put this to be equal to 1, in that case this is 24. If I put minus 1, then also it's 24. I essentially get just 3 integer pairs. So the number of this one is 3. In this question, we need to figure out the value of this expression. This one has all the powers of 3 essentially. Like 27 is 3 cube, 9 is 3 square. So what we will do is we'll convert everything into powers of 3 and then we'll add and subtract and do the properties wala thing. So let's write this down. So we have 4th root of 27 times cube root of 9 whole divided by 6th root of 9 into 3 cube into square root of 3. Okay, let's evaluate this. 4th root of this whole thing means this whole thing to the power 1 by 4. Similarly, 6th root of this whole thing means 1 by 6. Now 27 is what? 27 is 3 cube. 9 is 3 square. 1 by 3 cube root, and 9 is 3 square. So that becomes 3 to the power 2 by 3. We are using these properties basically. A to the power m whole thing to the power n is a to the power mn, and another root over of a to the power n is a to the power 1 by n. And we'll use another property here, a to the power m into a to the power n is basically a to the power m plus n. And another one also, ki a to the power m divided by a to the power n is a to the power m minus n. So these are the exponents properties which we will be using here. So this one, a to the power m into a to the power n, what will it be? It will be 3 plus 2 by 3. And 3 plus 2 by 3 is what? 3 3s are 27. 3 3s are 9 plus 2, 11 by 3. 11 by 3 into 1 by 4. So what is the ultimate expression here? Ultimate expression is 3 to the power 11 by 12. So the numerator I simplified and wrote 3 to the power 11 by 12. Let's look into the denominator similar way. 9 is 3 square, 3 cube is 3 cube, and this one is 3 to the power 1 by 2. So this one is basically 3 to the power 2 plus 3 plus half, which is equal to 3 to the power 5 plus half. 5 plus half is 11 by 2. So this whole thing is basically equal to 3 to the power 11 by 2. Now 11 by 2 into 1 by 6. So here also I am left with 3 to the power 11 by 2. So numerator denominator essentially same. Cancel it out. What is the value of the expression? The expression ka value is 1. 1 is the correct answer here.
Olympiads के prepare అవుతున్నారా? Then you're already building the skills needed for JEE tomorrow. ఆ ప్రిపరేషన్ ని నెక్స్ట్ లెవెల్కి తీసుకెళ్ళండి విత్ క్రాకూస్ JEE ఫౌండేషన్ బ్యాచ్ ఫర్ క్లాసెస్ 8 to 10. IITN ఫ్యాకల్టీ లైవ్ క్లాసెస్తో మ్యాథ్స్, ఫిజిక్స్ అండ్ కెమిస్ట్రీ నేర్చుకోండి. 5,000 ప్లస్ ప్రాక్టీస్ క్వశ్చన్స్తో ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి. అండ్ రెగ్యులర్ బైవీక్లీ టెస్ట్తో మీ ప్రోగ్రెస్ని ట్రాక్ చేసుకోండి. మీ ఒలింపియాడ్ ప్రిపరేషన్ని స్ట్రాంగ్గా చేసుకోండి JEE ఫౌండేషన్తో. జాయిన్ Cracku టుడే, ద లింక్ ఇస్ ఇన్ ద డిస్క్రిప్షన్.